Where's the? No, I gotta get the intro. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Go live and right. Oh, so somebody set this. Okay, see, they always. It's a good thing. Sorry, I just realized I'm not live yet, but I just realized. People be learning stuff. You know what I mean? You can see it when I go in here. So someone has set it up so that way, when you go live, the BBT Book Club video is already prompted to the intro video is prompted to play right away.
Islam.
And that's dope. And that's a new feature. You know what I mean? That's a new thing that's happened. So that means somebody's been in here. You know what I mean? Probably Moso or somebody, Brian, messing with it, learning, and figure that out, but they ain't announced it yet. You know what I
mean? Yep. Islam.
So anyways, my bad. Let me go live here.
Yes, sir.
I don't want this intro. Oh, okay. So now he can. Oh, yes. Yeah, I see what they did. All right, here we go. Yes, brothers. Yes. I see it now. I see what they did. This is dope.
Good.
We are live.
Peace. How's everybody doing?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. Brother Lamar. I know Noble Alonzo just texted. He said it's snowing out there in Jersey, so be careful while he's driving. But give me 1 second. I was just responding to an email, so give me 1 second. It's also snowing up in Flint too. That's where Empress is at.
It just started coming down out here in California, so you know what I mean.
Said coming down,
huh? Yeah.
But the gratitude for everyone, man. And gratitude, we had a good workout this morning, man, as we always do. Just wanted to say peace and love to everyone, man. Everyone that's tapping in today. We're going to have a quick discussion that was brought up a few times. Just about, reading and understanding and getting a good perspective of who you are. You know what I mean? And understanding just a tittle of your history. But with that being said, man, just give me 1 quick second. I just got one more email to send out, but pardon me, y'all.
It's all good.
Pardon me. Seems like every time we get started, man, emails start coming in. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. But we're good. But gratitude, brother. Gratitude for the kind words. But anyway, we were having a discussion about a couple topics about it's nothing new under the sun. And when we talk about studying and more science, we're not here to arbitrarily explain nothing or make nothing up. What we're here to do is show you who you are in history and show you the glorious things that you've done in history and build on the things that we know. So I want to share a piece of science with brothers and sisters. It's 2 volumes. The first volume is volume 1, and it has a volume 2. And volume 1 is by an author named David McRitchie, and the book is entitled The Ancient and Modern Britons. You have volume 1, and you have volume 2. But we're gonna just jump in a little bit of volume 1. We might just touch a little on volume 2 if time permits. If not, we'll touch on that at a later date. But I just want to make some emphasis on history and reading. They say if you want to hide anything from a misnomer Black person, where would you put it? In a book. So when people say they're historians and scholars, it's only one science. It's only one written word. When you go start tracing history, you can't be mad that when you start tracing history, you can find yourself, no matter how you want to explain it. and a lot of people are just caught up in a linguistic apartheid, or some of people may be sincere and they sincerely wrong, but scholarship and wisdom should precede any stupid thing, anything that's being idiot, because the word proves it. And if color didn't matter and all this, when people say this is love, and I understand that, well, why didn't we just tell the truth from the beginning? And when I say we, I mean academia. I mean everyone. Why all first century writers have the same story of what I have on both sides of history? I just broke it down yesterday when I say if color didn't matter and certain perspectives didn't matter, then why history and scholarship says something else? Because even before I get into ancient and modern Britons, when people be trying to diss history and diss spirituality and diss who you are as a people, I say, well, that's not history. I mean, because history is going to tell a whole nother story. I don't care if you go to Rome, if you understand signs and symbols. I don't care if you go anywhere. I don't care if you go in Russia, if you're dealing with the Russian icons. I don't care what part of the continent you go to. You're going to discover a certain genotype, and it's just what it is. Before I even get into the science, I'll give a little preface on a question called the Negro question, and it's the missing link. And it's a book series by Lee Cummings. That's why I say this is no argument. You know, this is no argument. I mean, every first century writer, if they was a truth teller, no matter what color they was, they told you what it was. Right here, we have the one world Tartarians. It shows you what this history is about. Shows you that the transatlantic slave trade didn't happen like that. Historical from the archives. So who's lying to you? Who's afraid? The history is going to tell itself. It's written. You know? So when we talk about, oh, the white man is, man, nobody want to hear that crap. Here it is, books, that's the scholars that's speaking the same thing, like, man, you the one that's crazy. This is written. So as we get, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, you can.
It's interesting, because you talk about, part of where we are in life is we don't have enough people who are in search of knowledge, who want to learn, right? We have more people that are more willing to defend what they know, right? Mm-hmm. As opposed to actually being in search of learning. And I think some of the difference is when you only want to defend what you know, you're limiting your ability to have a better understanding, a greater understanding, right, of whatever it is that you're speaking of. When you're in search of knowledge, of understanding, through that search, you're able to, as you eloquently point out all the time, be open to information, understand that you don't know everything, and touch from that basic understanding comes, I think, a greater understanding of that very thing that you're actually trying to discuss. So, sorry.
I agree, Noble. And these are conversations, like a lot of the conversations that I bring back to this cipher be a lot of conversations I had the pleasure and the honor to talk on college campus with teachers and professors. They know this stuff. When I talk about contextualizing scriptures, when they teach you Christendom, when they teach you a perspective, and in history, when people get a so-called African-American degree, that's a certain perspective. That's a certain part of history. That's not all history. That's a what we call Eurocentric or Negrocentric propaganda when things can be checked with history. So when we talk about history in the beginning, no disrespect to no one. If color didn't matter, why didn't no one tell the truth from the beginning? Why didn't no one tell us about Professor Winchell Alexander in his writings of Our Remote Ancestry, 1815 to 1900? The collection of journals, when he says, and I quote, and he only using the word black to describe the type. I can get a political or historical lawfully when we know black has no standing in law, but we're using this in the proper in this context to understand a type of people we're talking about. So please stay in context when I say the word black. Please stay in context. So these short black men came from Atlantis, North Africa, and they overran Europe. They were known as Britons. What type of Britons? David McRitchie telling you about them. That's why I said you're gonna every scholar in the first century they talked about the same thing. I'm telling you. Then you go to the one world Tartarians, they tell you the same thing. It's a certain reason why a group or a certain type want to keep you not learning. For you won't be guided by the stars. That's an analogy. These are tools. Roman history, Tacticus, the origins of the Black Britons, the Iberians. So when everybody be talking about, the Anunnaki, when they be coming with that Zachariah Stinchen, Eurocentric stuff, I say the Anunnaki is the Iberians. And that's facts. And if anybody want to play the go, they feel like, well, hey, man, I'm not here to play no game with you. Zachariah Stinchen, that is not valid. That's where they getting it from. Please. We ain't no alien. We talk about people. Are the black people with curly hair. The Iberians are the black people with curly hair. Anthropological Review Society, London, Volume 8. Joseph Ritson, Annals of Caledonian Picts and Scots, Volume 2, page 727. I'm giving people the information to research it. It's right in your face. That's why I say my people that are lost, we can't even talk about making money. Why? Because we can't agree who we are. So when it comes down to something, we are arguing, take each other out. Why? Because we are still promulgate some black stuff. And according to science and law, black means death. We got to understand the historicalness of this, but get it in the right perspective when we're talking about history. That's why we have to, the future is today. The future is today. If people talk about reparations and all that, and I say black people's not going to get reparations. So to understand what I'm saying, first you have to learn history and understand what I'm saying and see why it's so important. And it's so, how can I say, what did he call it the other day? He said it's almost like a battery in your car. He said this wisdom that need to be promulgated to the kids and things. Because he said if this was taught, a lot will change. He said you got to imagine how the pendulum shift will if every misnomer black person understood who they are. When they understood the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, which I'm always talking about, not ask people. Research the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15. And then tell me what it says. And then research the SF 181 form. Those two documents right there should be like, well, wait a minute. You know? So let's get back to the teaching. Ivan van Sertima, African Presence in Early Europe, page 225. The Britons look like the Ethiopians. Albert Churchward. Albert Churchward wrote so many books, The Signs and Symbols of the Primordial Man, Gerald Massey. All these first century European writers agree to what I'm saying. Look them up. That's why I say when people say this person lying to you, who? Your own brother and sister? Who? Your own teacher? Who? Your own preacher? Who? Your own uncle that's a Freemason? Who? Who you talking about? Because nobody lying to you. Ain't nobody lying to you. Everybody has a motive. And if we reading the same books, when I show people this, all the same stuff, the same forefathers, all the same monuments, it's nothing nobody can say. When I talk about the Dome of the Rock, that's all in Islam and Jewish and Christianity, all in their teachings. So when people be trying to separate it, well, I don't know what books they be reading, brothers and sisters. But Albert Churchward, 1912, Origins and Evolutions, on page 12 and 13, he clearly says that the black Basque were exterminated from Europe. Didn't say exterminated from Africa, it said from Europe. Professor Boyd Dawkins, Our Earliest Ancestors, the Bygone Days, a lecture delivered in the Public Hall, Collyhurst, Manchester, January the 8th. That's when we celebrate Noble Drew Ali's birthday. Ain't that ironic?
Islam.
You see? 1879. The ancient Britons, Irish, Scots are a short black people. Page 103 and 107. You should be liberated. But when we get to today, understanding that black has no standing in law, we can add on to that. But what I'm showing you, the people, you were all over. You wasn't no slave. What I'm showing you, but we build on that now that we have so-called government. Man, don't y'all know that the United States of America wrote a letter to misnomer black people in 2009 apologizing for slavery and all that? Don't y'all know this? Nobody know that. I'm telling you, you should want this information. Research what I'm telling you. So if that's the fact, then you got to understand the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, clearly states that you have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. And no one will be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change it. And the claim a child replaces your birth certificate. The Dred Scott Law was never abolished. It was illegal to be Negro, Black, and Color and African American. This is what we got to understand if we want to talk this reparation stuff. So I'm just adding two things together to keep your head in the right space, to stay in context. So Dr. Thurman, Nature Journal of Science, page 92. From the evidence at hand, it seems that the Iberian, aka the black man, occupied the whole of Western Europe at one time. Oh, so we're not gonna believe the first century writers? We're not gonna believe all the ones. That's why I'd be laughing when I heard no disrespect, one of the European students was talking about I was just talking about the brother analysis, Godfrey Higgins, and I said, oh, you're gonna open up a can of worms. If you're gonna open up a can of worms. You talking, well, have you ever heard of God? I said, yeah. I said, you want to open up and see what he said? Bust their head wide open. Everybody, you could hear a pin drop. I said, oh, why are you quiet now? They quote things that they don't even know. The first century writers, all the Europeans, that's truth tellers tell the truth, what they saw. They say the black man occupied the whole of Western Europe at one time. Professor Huxley, 1870, the Iberian race. Page 332, the Iberian, the Basque, the black bones have been found all over Europe with his animals. Didn't say all over Africa, it said all over Europe. All over Europe. I have inserted the writings of 8 English, aka, no disrespect when I say this, white historians to show you that our white brothers who were closer to the epic center didn't have a problem telling the truth about the original inhabitants of Europe. These Welshmen, these Britons, these Irish, these Frenchmen, these Russians. When I show y'all Vladimir Ivanov, it's a book called Russian Icons. Take the time to see how much that book costs. We have it for you. We converted that book to a PDF. Russian, Germans, Italians, and Swedes were in Europe thousands of years before the English arrived in 449 AD. And this will be proven by the writings of Professor Boyd Dawkins, professor of geology in Manchester, University London. Brothers and sisters, this is checkmate. Professor Boyd Dawkins was invited to speak in Public Hall in Manchester, London, January the 18th, 1879. And in his lecture, he gives a detailed account of the people who originally inhabited Europe. And without blushing, this is what he said. And I want to give y'all this. I want to read this before we go to the next topic. Had to get some libations. Professor Boyd Dawkins, professor of geology, Manchester University, London, 1879. Our remote ancestry, page 95 to 106. And I quote, eloquently, with a silver tongue, the original people of Britain, France, Spain, and England were short black men of about 5 feet 6 inches in height. They were in England when our fathers, aka the white English, invaded the land in 449 AD. Our fathers were a warlike people who by 607 AD had pushed the Basque west into Wales, Cumberland, Westmoreland, and the Highlands of Scotland and Devon. These black people boasted that they were citizens of the Roman Empire. So when people be all on TikTok talking about the King James, what they did, he wrote the Devil Bible, that ain't the King James I'm talking about. The Welsh or ancient Britons were in possession before the Romans ever came here. These black Basque, these Britons have brought the knowledge of iron, bronze with them. The iron and bronze technology will be proven perfectly when I show you the German tapestry, not no aliens. These people were herdsmen. They possessed the short horned ox, the horned sheep, the goat, the pig, and the horse. Evidence of their civilization can be seen all over the continent of Europe, as well as throughout the British Islands. extending as far as Germany, Switzerland, and even to France and Spain. These black people originated from Iberian Peninsula and are a fragment of the old Spanish population. So another fact I could tell you, when you just like, okay, so in history, when you deal with the Negrito beings and they say that mean black, okay, so when you start doing the history, they say the Negritos and Africans ain't even the same damn people. Even when you go to Puerto Rico, when I go back to Puerto Rico and I go to the slave ports and I show you, they're gonna say the indigenous people, and which is melanated, and the black people, African Negroes, slaves, two different people. Ain't that a bleepity bleep?
Islam.
I'm trying, and I be telling people, I say, okay, I say you're gonna get caught up, but not knowing, you know. Research what I'm telling you. They were in France, Spain, Ireland, Britain, Scotland. One of these techniques that I like to employ when detailing my research is to try to get as close to the point of evidence as I can. And Professor Boyd was right there, and he mentioned seeing the specimen of the black Basque from different parts of Europe, and states that if you laid them next to each other, you would not be able to tell one corpse from another. And the purpose of this section of this book and this research is to prove the beginning that the historians of the 18th and the 19th century had no problem describing the blackness of the early Europeans. I didn't say the blackness of the Africans. I didn't say that. I said the blackness of the early Europeans. Just like I'm gonna show you, David McRitchie told you, the ancient modern Britons. Just like Vladimir Ivanov in the book called Russia Icons. It's no disrespect. If color didn't matter, why they didn't tell the truth from the beginning? If color didn't matter, well, everybody say that color do matter. If color didn't matter, why did the United States government write a letter in 2009 apologizing for slavery and Jim Crow laws? Answer that. As early as 2009. Answer that. Answer me why it's a law, the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15. Answer me that. Answer me the SF 181 form when you fill it out to ethnicity and you fill out black. Answer me that. No one brought these questions up. That's the questions that we should be talking about. We can't have no conversations over nothing. Not until we have a clear understanding. You know? But Professor Boyd Walker was right there. He said you couldn't tell the difference, you know? But the historians in the 18th and the century, they ain't had no problem describing the blackness of the early Europeans. Hell, Benjamin Franklin, Professor Boyd Dawkins, and Albert Churchward gave us eyewitness account of the world order in the generation. The world order, because then it was the world order. Now we in the so-called new world order. Dr. Albert Churchward was an eyewitness account. He gives us a grim description of what happened to the black presence in Europe. The good doctor states that the blacks became extinct mean exterminated by the time he gave his lecture as early as 1912, my brothers and my sisters, to the Royal Society in London. Fact check me. It is the extreme importance that we begin this discussion or this bill or even illuminating this piece of history with the eyewitness accounts of the English historians concerning the old world order. It has become obvious to me in this research and to you, if you have eyes to see. Stevie Wonder, he ain't even that blind, he can see that the ancient, medieval, and the early 20th century historians were describing the old world order in their respective generations. And these historians, brothers and sisters, describe a world in which the misnomer blacks were in power all over the earth. And from the vantage point, we shall spring forward into the future to see secrets of the past. And man, history is just what it is. You can't be mad at history. When people get upset, you know, they be like, oh, this history, it can't be racist. It can't be biased. How? Because it's history. Somebody said, yeah, well, swear, yeah, you got the swarty Moors, the tawny Moors. You know, just like when we talk about brunette. Brunette was a melanated. When you go to the Netherlands, when you see Swarty Piet, aka Black Pete, and Santa Claus, when you go to the Netherlands and you see the Corsica flag and you see the Moor's head, then this one I'll be telling people, you were all over. The history proves it. Like I come with scholarship, you know. I'm not here to make nobody upset. If color didn't matter, why nobody else didn't tell the truth from the get-go? And to get you caught up in propaganda, Eurocentric and Negrocentric. Because here go the Scott King of England. In the image, I'm going to show you. Here go the Scott King of England. I don't know if y'all can see the picture good enough. Let me see. Let me see if I can put it on here. There we go. Oh, y'all can't even see it. There we go, right there. That's the Scott of England. That brother. That's, if you can see that, that's him. So when people be saying things, that's in the Edinburgh Library. Edinburgh Library. The Scott King of England. And when you see at the signs and symbols, when you can start telling Roman history and things, you have to start knowing signs and symbols. This is what I tell people. I said, signs and symbols, you got to understand this. It's like sign language. Man, every historian have to agree with what I'm saying, or it's propaganda. The image of the Black King James can be a little confusing because of your Western education. But this is the truth that is known by the rich and the elite. They study at the Royal Archives, the same where I study at. Just like when I talk about some Willie Lynch letter. If it was a Willie Lynch letter, it'd be in the Library of Congress. It'd be in the Royal Archives. I told y'all where that propaganda came from. You can't be mad at me. I showed you where Alex Haley plagiarized roots from a European named Harold Colin in his plagiarized book called The African. You can't be mad at me. You can't be mad at me.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
I wonder if people forget that Forrest Whitaker was in a movie called The Last King of Scotland.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He played it. People forgot that.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he sure did. And that was the reason I paired all of the English historians and professors before you. I got into the bowels of this introduction because I'm not going to get into it all. I just want to spark something. I have to get your mind ready to receive things. King James came from a long line of Black Scottish Stuarts. And when people talk about, oh, the King James with that devil, that ain't what we talking about. You can have all your devil stuff. The 343 years of rulership in Scotland. Excuse me. The Stuarts not only ruled in Scotland, they ruled France, Spain, Ireland, England, Britain, Wales. King James was able to rule all of the lands because of the people were what? Iberian, aka blacks. They were Iberian descent. They were the same people. And if you look at the ball in his hand, it represents the world rulership. And it was only one other group of world leaders who used this type of symbolism. And they were the Byzantine Roman emperors. Remember, they told the English that they were what? Roman citizens. This is proof. There was another man who made the same boast. And if you have wisdom, you know who I'm talking about. This is one of the signs of scholarship. When you are able to read what? The symbolism of images. Just like when I talk about the Metaneter, just like when I show you the YHWH, just like when I told you in Egypt they had two so-called Hebrew pharaohs, Sabatos and Sebekos. It's history. The YHWH is in the text. It's there. The ancient Scottish was a tribe from Northern Ireland, which means the Scots are really Irish. So if I have seen an ancient Scot, you've seen an ancient Irishman. And if you've seen an ancient Irishman, you've seen an ancient Briton. See, y'all, these is facts. You can see this Scott King lists King James I of England was a descendant of a Black Scottish king who claimed the thrones of France, Spain, Ireland, England, Britain, Wales, and Scotland. And to reinforce the testimony of Professor Boyd Dawkins, I provided you with images of the kings of Scotland. Here they go. I mean, they know what I'm talking about. This is all in the Royal Archives. We got to stop playing. It ain't nothing nobody can say. This is what I'm saying. Your history run deep. Stop letting somebody tell you you call everybody misnomer Black person came over here on some boat. That's destroyed. The European scholar told you this. Hell, my noble, is he on here? Dreshan broke that down when he went through the section in One World Tartarians. It's right here. It's in the research. The image location, the book Leviton, the author Thomas Hobbes, 1651. King Charles I had the unlucky distinction of having his head cut off by the English white subjects in his realm. No disrespect. And when we talk about Oliver Cromwell in history, you had the European Oliver Cromwell we're going to talk about, but you also had a melanated Oliver Cromwell. See, these is facts. So let's continue. King Charles I wasn't the only one to suffer this indignation. When the English overran the country, they hung and decapitated the men. Did whatever to the women, burned the citizens at the stake, and dashed the children against stones. This is in Oliver Cromwell's diaries, y'all. Research history, what I'm saying. Everybody be thinking, no disrespect, that those other melanated people did so much of history. When they talk about Church War, Churchill. Man, I can show you what Churchill did in history. I can show you what a lot of those people did with working for the feds all through history. But we have to see that. And this is a bit of history that is not taught or reported in the annals of the world. Scott King, Alexander II, 1198 AD, location artifact, myfamilyclans.com. When you research these melanated people, you can see these people. You see them. One brother looked like George Jefferson. One brother looked like George Jefferson. But after Cromwell had executed King Charles I and ravaged the three kingdoms, the Jacobites tried to restore the black Stuart kings to power. They were known as the Jacobites, and one shall name himself Jacob, and another shall name himself Israel. You are going to see statements like this throughout this wisdom. You got to know who they are. But it's so much wisdom, I don't want to keep going in that and going too deep, because I can do a whole dissertation on that, but I want to stop right there and get into the main topic, because I don't have too much time left. So, Volume 1, Ancient and Modern Britons. I want to get into a chapter of this. Before I get into what my homie says, he's like, man, can you hold that other book up real fast? Absolutely. This is the One World Tartarians. And my noble Dre Sean, he eloquently broke this down last week. It's so much in here, man. We'll have to do series on this. That's why I tell people you can't learn off TikTok off a person doing a quick commercial and then not tell you where it's from, man. Nobody's going to have nothing that an educator and a real scholar and a person that heart that's pure is not going to have. That's what it is about. I don't have no religious perspective. I don't care about your religion. If we a people, our ultimate goal should be who we are as a people. And if you talk about reparations, you can't talk about reparations if you don't talk about the misnomers of who you identify as. And when we deal with this spirituality, we got to break it down in the right perspective, because they use their religion to separate brothers and sisters. But the natives of America, aka the Black Moors. Oh, and this One World Tartarian is by James W. Lee. I asked everybody to research these Europeans, James W. Lee. They got the Moors showing you where chess came from and everything. So when people be saying, oh, well, you using misnomer Moorish scholars or misnomer Black scholars like Ivan Van Sertima and all them, yes, they already told the truth. Sheikh Anna Diop, Dr. Francis Cruz Wilson, Amos Wilson. Yes, we had our first century scholars, Chancellor Wilson, of course, Amos Wilson, but the European scholars is just as many that saying the same thing. So I'm gonna deal with that, because I already because I spoon fed you from your brother and sister, and you still have a problem with that. So, first natives of America, Black Moors, author and historian Chancellor Wilson, the original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were Black Africans. The 16th century English playwright William Shakespeare used the word Moor as a synonym for African. His contemporary Christopher Marlowe also used African and Moor interchangeably. Hell, the 1599 Geneva Bible called you a Black or Moor. Black soldiers specifically identified as Moors were actively recruited by Rome. Hell, what's the writer? I shared it in the text stream, his article, how he would say it in a span like all of them was Moors. What's the poet name? It'll come to me.
I'm trying to think of it. Hold on.
It'll come to me. But he was talking about the Spanish War. He was telling about how them was Moors, melanated people, and served in Britain, France, Switzerland, Austria, Hungary, Poland, Romania. Saint Maurice, patron saint of medieval Europe, was only one of many Black soldiers and officers under the employ of the Roman Empire. although generations of Spanish rulers have tried to expunge this era of historical record. Recent archaeology and scholarship now sheds light on the Moors who flourished in Al-Andalus for more than 700 years. Who? The Moors ruled Spain. Who were the Moors? The Jews. I'm telling you that, and people be trying to be upset with this to try to talk about some Arab. Okay, now let's deal with scholarship. It ain't no such thing as an Arab. Get Vladimir Dale's dictionary of an Arab, an ARAP, and you will see. There's no disrespect. Get Bertram Thomas' book called The Arab, and you tell me who the ancient Arab is. This is no disrespect. This is scholarship. From 711 AD until 1492, the Moors advanced in mathematics, astronomy, art, agriculture, helped propel Europe out of the Dark Ages. That's why we would never know Dark Ages. We were always in a golden era. Hell, I'm not mad at nobody if they say they grew up in a cave. I ain't mad at nobody. I'll let you have. You say you grew up in a cave and it's not another you. That ain't your history. That ain't my history. So why would I even argue with a caveman? That means your history is not ancient. It can be if your history is in a cave and you would say you a caveman. This ain't what I'm telling you. I'm not disrespecting you. I'm just agreeing with what you say you are. What are we arguing for? It ain't no argument. The Moors brought enormous learning to Spain that over centuries would go through the rest of Europe. The intellectual achievement of the Moors in Spain had a lasting effect. Education was universal in Moorish Spain, while in Christian Europe, 99% of the population was illiterate, and even kings could neither read nor write. Hell, that's why you had Angelo Solomon, the first Moorish Mason, and he went and teaching people in their houses, you know? At a time when Europe had only 2 universities. And even when I talk about that, when I deal with a native to the land, when I talk about the Indians that was here in South Carolina, when I deal with Gaston L. Bay, when I say only thing they tried to do is change your names to draw you off the land. There wasn't no purchase, no Louisiana purchase. History tell you this. They tried to change the name from Tunic to Turner, from Washita to Washington. The history is there. Yes, you got people doing things wrong, but we don't have to do nothing wrong. You have the right to do things the right way. I'm not worried about nobody else. The Moors had 17 located in Altamira, Cordova, Granada, Guan, Malaga, Seville, and Toledo. Hell, A.J. Rogers' book, 101 amazing facts about the Negro. When I take you into Seville, when I show you how the Ku Klux Klan, no disrespect, they got all their identity from those black civilians, from those black saints in there. They whole attire. These is facts. This ain't no disrespect. And the Ku Klux Klan, their whole ideology comes out of the Quran or the Cloran. They just put a L in their Cloran. These is facts. But you want to be a Negro and a slave. No disrespect. No disrespect. I'm just giving history. But in the 11th and the 12th century, public libraries in Europe were non-existent, while Moorish Spain could boast of more than 70. You know? You said The Arab by Bertrand Thomas. I have every book that I talk about on here, brothers and sisters, I have. One thing I did when I was getting my dual master's degree at Grand Canyon University, I converted over 1 million books and documents to PDFs. So you don't have to go to certain platforms and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for books I'll be talking about. I got a lot of books donated to me from professors. And so I took the time with my staff and my brothers that I love and I give gratitude to them. And we converted a lot of books to PDFs. No piece of paper should cost that much. That was one of my oral dissertations when I told misnomer black people, you just not introduced to the information because certain individuals and certain businesses know that you're not going to spend $5,000 for a book. You're not going to spend $4,000 for a book called Russian Icons. You know, you're not going to spend no book like that for Russian Icons by Vladimir Ivanov. You're not going to, it's certain books that I have that cost too much. And so we convert them to PDF and I be telling people to get them. All the college students get them from me for small donations. That's what I tell people. I have a gift. You can get this information. It's worth something. When you go on Amazon, you be like, why the hell that book cost $5,000? Why that book cost $400? I can get that book from that sheet as a PDF, or I can go to Office Max and Staples and they'll print it and bind it. They'll print and bind the book. They'll print and bind the book like so. This is what we should be on. But anyway, as I proceed, because I want to, I'm on good time, because I want to continue. But the while the Moor Spain could boast of more than 70, including one in Cordova, that housed hundreds of thousands of manuscripts, universities in Paris and Oxford were established after visits by scholars to the Moor Spain. You said the Arab was by who? Bertram Thomas. Bertram Thomas. It's a book called The Arab. Actually, he wrote a whole bunch of books. I got them all. I converted them all to PDF. That's why I tell people, when you got somebody that have everything, I did the research. But if you want to go to Amazon and buy the paper book, that's on you, you know? But whatever, let's proceed. It was this system of education taken to Europe by the Moors that seeded the European Renaissance and brought the continent out of 1,000 years of intellectual and technological gloom of the Middle Ages. And here it is, here it is at the bottom, they got the Moors playing chess. I'm telling you, no disrespect. I just want to paint the picture because we got a little time. I thought I'm on great time. Okay.
Yeah, you good. You good.
Okay. So we building. We setting the precedent. So destroying the identity of the Black Tartarians. Here we go again. I'm gonna just highlight something to make you say, The member in the Los Angeles Times, June 4th, 1990, reported that when Napoleon visited the Sphinx, 1798, everything but the head was buried in the sand. His soldiers used the Sphinx for target practice. But while the Sphinx had already suffered nose damage prior to Napoleon, the greatest destruction took place during Napoleon's occupation of Egypt, as documented by Tony Browder and testified by the collection of the Sphinx portraits. So when you look at all that part through history, then you get to the good part of what I want to talk about, and what I want to show you and highlight as we go to the next topic, the main topic, which is the ancient and modern Britons. So I gave you that little highlight, and I say now I just gave you a highlight of the old world order where you saw the misnumbered blacks ruled in Europe and all that. Now watch how everything changed. When I talk about the New World Order or the so-called transatlantic slave trade, and this is what they teach a lot of your kids when they go to these universities, and they have these teachers with that pseudo academia, and they teach you about some Willie Lynch, and they tell you that's a required reading for their class, and then all you got to do is get me, and I'll destroy that professor from love. And I say that's propaganda. It ain't no Willie Lynch letter. Black was not used to describe ethnicity in the first century, and I showed them where that Willie Lynch letter came from, and those professors can say nothing. They'll probably walk out. These is facts. No disrespect. It's all made up. Period. And no one can come on here with no fact and say it ain't. And then when I come with all the facts, then what we do? We still play stupid. That's like trying to defend a lie in court. That's insanity. So here we go, another lie. As we broke down, some 12.5 million Africans were taken from their homes and forced aboard slave ships that were destined for the New World. About 10.7 million people survived the horrors of the Middle Passages between 1526 and 1866, only to end up in bondage on sugar, rice, cotton, tobacco plantations throughout the Americas and the Caribbean. The transatlantic slave trade is the largest forced migration in history. Misnumbered Black people and indigenous to the Americans. Black Native Americans are not a result of the so-called Red Indian mixing with slaves. The so-called Red Indian come from mixing with European colonists and the Asians that were in America before Columbus. The first Native Americans were Mongolian Tartarians. Melville Herkovitz, a European anthropologist, was one of the originators of the out of Africa theory. And if y'all was in tune, my noble Dreshan broke this down. I'm bringing it back because it was so powerful and people missed it. People should have been talking about this like, wait a minute, did I hear what this brother just said? Yes, you should have. We're giving you scholarship and reference of those people in that time. You talk about archaeology, we giving it to you. We still gonna identify as nothing. Herkovitz never had any historical, archaeological, or anthropological proof that Black people of the Americas ever derived from West and North Africa. So his whole theory was debunked. Consequently, Herkovitz crafted what we talk about with the European Harold Colander, as it's going to say, no disrespect. They came with that theory that blacks arrived in America from the transatlantic slave trade, which allegedly brought in more than 10 million African slaves. But according to the National Archives of Spain and the Smithsonian records, there was no evidence to prove 70,000 ships with black Africans ever sailed to the Americas. Melville carried out the teachings of his mentor, researcher Franz Boas, Franzboaz, to make the original copper-colored races of the Americas inferior and the European present superior. Research it, you know? Research what I'm telling you. Before this time, blacks coming from Africa through the transatlantic slave trade story never existed. As a result, Melville's work has been fragmented and used as propaganda by writers like, I told y'all, Harold Colander and Alex Haley, which further perpetuated the myth of the transatlantic slave trade through the hit movie Roots. Americans were black people, and they were, not brought here on ships. Instead, they were enslaved right here on their own lands. If they were brought on ships, the numbers are extremely exaggerated. It was published that 15 million to 20 million slaves arrived in Americas between 1540 and 1850, over a 310-year period, according to the history books. The Stuart synopsis points out a few questions that should be examined. I know everybody know what the Stuart synopsis is. Over a period of 300 years, is it fair to say that 60,000 slaves were transported annually to the Americas? Or has the transportation of slaves to the Americas been one big myth? The largest seagoing vessel carried 400 slaves, but not all of the ships were that large. Time of passage was 3 to 4 months. That means 200 ships per year would have to travel carrying 300 people. One ship could make 3 passages per year. But the transatlantic slave trade database says that there were 1,100 to 1,400 voyages made over a 300-year period. So if that's the case, and each ship carried 400 people, the total number would be 560,000 Africans were transported. And that still don't add up. Why? We already know that over 83% of all Americans with African ancestry have Native American blood. I gave you all that history. Did Native American tribes help slaves escape, or were Americans with African ancestry already part of the Native American nations? Think about this. I'm almost to the main topic. No, my brother said, no, Brother Bill. You stupid. Well, let me get some tea then. I'm sorry, y'all. I read my other site. I got my website up. My other social media with some people at GCU. Sorry about that. But after 20 years, the Royal Adventurer, with its 15 ships, had transported between 90,000 and 100,000 slaves. This is a long way from 15 million to 20 million slaves who were supposedly brought to the Americas. Doesn't that leave a little bit over 14 million to 19 million people not accounted for? What's up with that? Or was misnomer black, brown birth rate that more accelerated, no disrespect to nobody, than the other birth rate? The calculated median of 15 to 20 million would be 17.5 million divided by 400 people, the largest slave vessels. That comes to about 43,750 trips. 43,750 trips. Can you show me a record where this many trips occurred, or the number of trips calculated by the so-called experts? You can't. And then when I show you that figure, 27,000 to 35,000 voyages, the same thing happened with the, no disrespect, the Holocaust in Germany during World War II. 6 million people were supposedly killed, but there are not that many names referenced who died, totaling 6 million. No disrespect. In fact, the official story had reduced the number to 1 million people. But Stuart's synopsis lists these black native tribes, the Washita of, Louisiana, Midwest, the Yamanese of Southeast, the Iroquois, the Cherokee Indians, the Blackfoot Indians, Pequot, and the Moganans, I might be pronouncing it wrong, the Pequot or the Pequot, the Pequot, and the Mohegans of Connecticut, the Black Californians, the Califans, the California literally means black, after the name of the great Mami Kali, Queen Khalifa, the Olmecs of Mexico, and the Daranite of Panama. The Daranite of Panama. Yeah, it is surprising. That's why I said I'm not here to argue with nobody. No one in Africa will tell you that they know no black person. No one. If the United States of America apologized for slavery in 2009, if I say you have the right of a nationality and the right to change it, you know what I mean? The Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, clearly say you have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. When you get the SF 181 form pertaining to ethnicity, I ask brothers and sisters to read that and then come back and have a conversation with me. This is the stuff that's been brought up. This is not hard. You must proclaim, declare, have due process is in the Constitution. They say, you say who you are, you tell me. For the record, I'm telling you, if they apologize for slavery, why would you want to be something that's not real? You can't even defend that. I don't care if you hire Ben Crump. Ben Crump know that a Negro, black, or color, African American would never get no damn reparations. The only thing misnumbered black people got for slavery is a letter. That's all you getting is an apology letter. I'm trying to tell you. You got to understand what I'm saying. And people be mad, I say, dude, well, clearly you don't know law. I ask a person, what's the 13th, the 14th, the 15th Amendment? What are manumissions? What's the Reconstruction Law? When I ask people about the Wilmington white man constitution, show me what happened in Wilmington. When you talk about you some black, when I say the Dred Scott Law was never abolished, and then when I tell people that before Abraham Lincoln was a damn president, he was a lawyer and he defended Demore in court. When I tell people to research the Spencer and the Dungy case, this is no disrespect to nobody. This is what I be telling people. I said, why would we want to identify as something that's meaningless? I'm not even gonna have a conversation with a person that try to describe something that means nothing. You know, it's a waste of my time. You know, the story goes over the course of 300 years from the 16th to the 19th century. The Brasilia imported around 4 million slaves, some 40% of the total transatlantic slave trade. The overwhelming majority came from the former Portuguese colony of Angola, located at the Atlantic coast of southern Africa. Only July 9th, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, the acronym UNESCO, named Valongo, Valongo, Wharf, a World Heritage Site, along with the Northwest English Lake District, the walled city of Ahmedabad in India, and the sacred Japanese island of Onishima, which doesn't allow women on the shores. You know? Yeah, it is. But common knowledge is not common to a lot of people because the internet has got people out being criminals when they come with that sovereign citizen, with that expatriation, thinking their social security number is attached to some millions. And I showed them where that came from. I showed them where they got that from, that European, where that came from. They mixed that with more science. No sheik don't teach that stuff. That ain't our prophet telling us to be industrial. That's sovereign citizen, just like European militia stuff. And them Negroes sit in the jail right next to the European militia. You know, the law say what we have to do, and we do things the right way pertaining to the law. You know, that's why misnumbered black people never going to get no reparations. They never. Why? Because you keep saying they black. They keep filling out they black willingly as a willing obligor. But of this site list, none has a darker past than Valongo Wharf, built in 1811. The wharf functioned as South America's leading slave port. It was here that as many 900,000 enslaved African men, women, children were held before being sold on the Brazilian slave market. You know, when I talk about the Spanish acquisition, those who didn't survive the ordeal, who died during the transatlantic slave journey or something, arrived after the wharf. And when I tell people this, I say, okay, well, do they got kids? When we say Noble Andrew, brother, or I don't know if you a brother, you know what I mean? Because I sometimes when I say a brother and the person was like, no, I'm a female, so I apologize. So I say, Noble Andrew. When we say black is an artificial common knowledge, I say if that's common knowledge, that means our children should know it. That means if we know this, we should teach our children that. And then nobody can pull our kids and say, when Black history come, or when we deal with historical things, they talk about their slaves. So I get that as common knowledge for certain people, but common knowledge sometimes is not spread as general knowledge. So if it's common knowledge, when we fill out things, when things are put in our face, are we bold enough to fill it out the right way? Are we bold enough to make a statement the right way? Are we bold enough to teach our children that? Common knowledge to make it general knowledge. Do our children know these things? And I ask people that have children, that's what I ask, because they should be writing about these things. Mexico claims African slaves as well, a total of 186,716. I turning Black on job application and put Native American okay. Now this is the thing. Maurice Albert, this is what he said. He said, I stopped checking Black. He said, I stopped checking Black on job application and put Native American when I started to dig, research, and find out more truth. Gotta put that little clues together. Okay, but once again, we don't use those Native American. We gotta remember. You gotta remember when I say let's deal with things in the proper context. So if a SF 181 form is put in your face, how would you fill it out? Because some things, when people don't know, I say, what do they? Because some things on that form is not on there pertaining to ethnicity or the census. So how would you fill it out? Because I broke it down the other day, and I'm glad that came up. That's why I like to have these builds with people, So I stop right there in the one word Tartarians. You feel what I'm saying, Noble? A brother said, I stopped checking Black on the job applications and put Native American when I started to dig and research and find out more truth. And I said, okay, so when you get a job, there you go. This all I be telling people. I said, okay, so what is that SF 181 form saying? This is what I ask people when I say I hear it, but a lot of times we say things, and when we get things put in front of us, what we be saying sometimes might not be valid, because that might not be your choice of ethnicity when a certain document is put in your face. This is what I'm telling people. And when a person say, well, yes, it is, and I say, well, okay, well then let's deal it on the broadness. Let's deal it on the worldly thing. For kids, for everybody in the world that's dealing with something when we're talking about certain forms. So I'm glad that person said that, so we can bring that up. Oh, have anybody ever read the SF 181 form before I finish this? Has anybody ever read it? Yes or no? And we have to tell the truth. This is what I wait. Have anybody that's on this YouTube, on my personal YouTube channel, on my Facebook channel, or that's on here, have you ever read the SF 181 form pertaining to ethnicity? Yes or no? Yes or no? No, the IRS, see, Maurice said the IRS don't want to take you through nothing. I promise you. The IRS don't want to take you through nothing. I promise you. If I ask you a question that ain't got nothing to do with the IRS, you said, I think I did. I don't know what I think I did. I ask people, do they know what the SF 181 form is? That's all. That's what I'm asking. In school, as a teacher, how I teach, and forgive me if I don't teach the right way, you don't like my style. I have you answer the question. I don't want you to go out on an assumption. I don't want you to go out arbitrary explaining nothing. So when I ask a person, when they say they fill out, what they say, when you say you fill out on a job application, a person say they fill out Native American, I say, okay, so I ask a person, what's the SF 181 form? Andrew said, okay, I'll put white. So let's deal with the first thing I asked him, have we seen it? Thank you, noble brother Maurice Jory. He said, I think I read it. Okay, I want us to look at that SF 181 form and read the whole form. This is the thing I say about rules, or I talk about the four corner rule, or if I'm teaching something, I can give you a whole piece of paper, and most people will try to, and it'll be 100 questions on there, right? But then it'll be a paragraph, and in that paragraph, it'll say, please read this before you even answer any questions. And all you got to do is sign your name and turn the paper back in. It's going to be a lot of people that's not even going to read the directions. They're going to jump right into answering the questions. And that's what I tell a lot of my brothers and sisters to do. And I said, listen, I said, read the instructions. Please take the time to read. And a lot of our brothers and sisters don't have the attention span of a third grader. And I'm not talking about no one. But I ask people, do we read or we just go filling out? I'm going to fill out this, or I'm going to make a box and then circle this. Well, you're going to make the whole document void. We're not jumping through no hoops. The document is self-explanatory. I ask a person, so when you filling out your ethnicity, any form pertaining to a work, anything, which is considered as an SF-181 form, what would you fill out? And I ask every person that. Some people say, I don't know what to do. I ain't never seen it. And I say, okay, well, what will you fill out? And have you ever read it? So I challenge a person to read it, and then it's something gonna click in your head when you see those descriptions. You're gonna say black, which is nothing, and then you're gonna say white Africa too, and you're gonna be like, wait, so it's a black Africa and a white Africa? Your antennas gonna start going up. But then it says circle all pertaining to you. So. And then the SF-180 form is a form to say how you can bring up questions to the government and things and why you want to challenge things. And one of the challenges to be, if anything, Negro, black, and color, or Africa, or from the African continent, or a black person from the African continent shouldn't even be on there. Why? Because it ain't none. It ain't no black from no African content. It can't even be described. You can't even defend that nowhere in a court of law. It's silver mortis, so that should be off on there. And if anything should be, you can put Moorish American on there, but that's a form of ethnicity. So you are American. If anything, what type of American? You have the right to be a Moorish American, but black from an African continent should not be on there. It should not be on there. It says circle all three pertaining to you. So it's one on there that trumps it all. And that's what I tell people. I said, if a person look and take the time to have these group studies with my professor, what I tell everybody, I said, listen, if we can do things the right way, when we talk about reparations, we have to agree to something. We all can't say, well, I'm going to pick this, I'm going to pick this. No, look with it. I say this is ethnicity. So which one fits the most? Yes, we can pick all three or all that pertaining to us. But as a group, as a body, we got to agree to do something systematically. And that's to agree on one thing. We can't have everybody doing one thing. It's one on there that trumps all. Is one on there. When I tell you, what are you? You white by law. That's your status. You white by law. So if you understand that, thank you. That shouldn't be there. Why? Damn it, we just gave the law. We just gave a corner science and law, black mean death. America apologized, wrote the letter for 2009 for an enslavement of black people in Jim Crow laws. The Dred Scott Law was never abolished. The 13th, the 14th, the 15th Amendment, when we look at this is why. And we have the right. The Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, said what we have the right to do. We have a right of a nationality and what? And a right to change it. And the claim a child replaces the birth certificate. And no one will be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change it. Arbitrary means nobody can sit up here and tell you who you are and you not. This is what I be telling people. What makes you a Moorish American? Because you're born here in America with African, aka Moroccan descent. That's what makes you a Moorish American. You have the right. And when I break this history down, some things should be on there. That's the shift. Because all religious books, the Bible, the Quran, is synchronized. I already synchronized that. So the common denominator of as melanated people should be who we are. Everybody on here talk about they down with reparations. Where I say, okay, I'm down with reparations too. But a misnomer Negro, black, color, African-American, Negro, whatever you call it, is never going to get no reparations. Period. You're not going to get nothing. And the only people that's going to get paid or whoever got paid for reparations is the person or the entity that created Negroes. This is what I'm telling people. And so that's what I'm saying. We are afraid. We are afraid to be. And that's what I tell people. And the laws is put it in your face and say, you tell me. He like, this brother been telling you this for a minute. He's telling you have the right. He like, gather. Hell, the religious laws trump everything. The religious laws trump everything. Your religious right trump everything. The religious rights of the indigenous people trump everything. You got the right not to assimilate. You got the right to have your own teacher. You got the right to use public platform. You got the right to write your own books. You got the right to have your culture. You got the right to not assimilate. You have the right. We're not here to overthrow no government. I'm educated just like any rest of them brothers and sisters. I ain't here to blame no other entity. I'm saying your own people not teaching this. All these scholars that have these conversations over black this, like my professors would say, and they Europeans, it'd take me 25 minutes and I can rest my case and it would be no rebuttal. When people talk that black stuff, that's not real scholarship. That's Eurocentric and Negrocentric propaganda. And so when we deal with documents, constitutional law, things that you can say, this is who I am from the pen, you know, and from history, that's what we got to do. So it ain't making nobody jump into no hoops. It's understanding who we are as a people the right way. So as I close, I'm going to jump into this ancient and modern Britons. Now I'm going to go back in time. I just want to show y'all something, to show you how all history is going to just start kicking people in the face. You know, David McRitchie told people, you know, I start in chapter 3, you know, he talks about the dark people resemble the Aquitani, the Aquitani. They put so much in our face, but the main problem is majority of our culture don't read. Maurice. Woo! Boy, if Maurice Jordan was on, that's why Maurice Jordan, I say, man, hit me up. Come to class. Let's build. We can teach this. That's the problem. You 100% right. And I said, if you want to hide anything from a misnumbered black person, put it in the book. They know we don't read. They know we're not going to study. They know we're not going to have our think tanks. They know we're not going to have our Silicon Valley. Everything that I was able to be a part of, I'm transparent with everybody. I tell people I'm part of Philosophical Research Society. I've been introduced to wisdom and information that I bring back to my people. I ain't took no oath. I conferred degrees. I'm 99 degrees. I'm initiated. I ain't took no oath. I come back and bring people to wisdom. You should want that. But you're right. Our people don't read. That's why scholarship trumps things. That's why peer-reviewed scholarly research, no matter what color you are, is going to trump this. You know? That's exactly. We're talking about keys for coming together. Who? The people. Of what you have the right, your dollar, especially when I started talking about tax exempt status, and when I talk about the Sopranos and why everything's done with the Catholic Church and why nothing about me is black. Why nothing about me is black? Why? Because if you black, you don't have lawyer and client confidentiality. It's nothing about me is black. That's why everything went through the church with tax exempt for the federal government, religious, charitable, scientifically. That's why I tell people when you donate to the church, you get a tax exempt receipt. That's how you're able to file exempt on your taxes, because you donate to your religious and charitable contribution of your choice. That's how we can build our infrastructure. But I'll be telling people that's how we lose, because we let basketball players, they get a money manager. A money manager don't have to pay your taxes, because if that's the case, why all these rich people got in trouble for tax evasion with money managers? If that's the case, if you making $1 million a year, or say your taxes is $1 million a year, and you in the state of California, and it says you can donate 60% of your earned income to your religious and charitable contribution of your choice. Well, damn it, long as I'm making my taxes is $1 million a year, and long as I'm making that type of money, I'm donating to my religious and charitable contribution of my choice. I'm donating $600,000, and I'm giving an offering every year. And I'm telling all my homeboys that's on the same level as me to help build this infrastructure with our brother. Why? Because we giving our money to a private banking system, and we can help this brother. We can build. We like what's going on. And if you're a regular person too, you can help. How? You get a tax exempt receipt. I just showed y'all how a lot of jobs, they'll take insurance out on you and you won't even know. I'm telling y'all, it's a way we can do things. The laws, I operate in the parameters of the law. You can do things legally. How? You don't got to do nothing more. You're already paying taxes. Now decipher it legally. Build your infrastructure. This is the power of the people. But you 100% right. And then when people say, well, they hid something from us, nothing is hidden. It's nothing new under the sun. We're not introduced to it. And when a lot of our brothers like myself and others get the information and have access to the information, they try to trick their own people because they know they don't know, or they charge hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's why a lot of people say, man, you need to charge more and you would be just as famous. I don't want to be famous. I have a real something to offer. I'm a real business. So I know it's going to take time and work. I know that. I have something to offer. Hell, Jeff Bezos got rich selling books. I have something for you, for all my people. I just need my people to support. We can have something. I promise you that. But let's proceed. But not all our brothers and sisters don't read. We have a full library, mypdfbooks.com, binderbooks.com. Then I have a whole database of ancient books, manuscripts, documents, a whole database. You know, You know, I have them all. And every book that costs two, you can name any book on here, I have them all. I'll be showing them. When I go on a college campus every Wednesday, I have all college students. They be putting their money together getting books. They be laughing. They say, man, I know you a multi-millionaire. I said, no, that's not my mission. But they said, but you should be. And I say, because they be getting the books from me, PDFs, downloading them, printing them, binding them themselves. You know, cracking up. Books, thousands of dollars. I got Marcus Garvey letters on Amazon. They sell for $4,000. I got the damn letters. You know? But let's proceed. The fair people were like the Belgic Gauls. His second proposition is that the people termed Gauls and the so-called Germans by the Romans did not differ in any important physical character. You know, these two propositions we may accept as well-founded. A splendid example of this fair race is the barbarian prisoner supposed to be Carcoptus, portrayed from the marble in the British Museum. When you start looking at this stuff, their complexion was different and of darker hue. Their hair was curly, and they resembled the Iberians. They resembled the Iberians. Here he is in the ancient modern Britons, and they talking about the Iberians. I told y'all, the Iberians are styled swarty pia, aka Black Pete, and curly hair, The word swarty is rather classic for although literally swartz, yet it is taken, I fancy, to mean something not quite as dark as the color of a Negro. In its usual acception, perhaps this distinction does not exist. But at any rate, if the small dark Highlander and the black Celt to the west of the Shannon be assumed to be the descendants of the Iberians, it may fairly be argued that with so much intermixture with fairer races during the last 2,000 years, the stock must now be lighter skinned than then, and its representatives of the first century must have been actually as black as Negroes. Yes, that's what I tell. It will enlighten you. I tell people it saved your life. If they listen in academia, what I saw, which was one of my oral dissertations, when I tell people the power of the pen. When I talk about pseudonyms, man, they changed their name. They wrote in their pen names because they would be destroyed. I did my oral dissertation. Professors came from all over. You got to know this. This is how you come together. This is the power. This is the shift. This is the pendulum shift. I'm telling you, this is the pendulum shift. We get around something that can be proven valid and get away with spookism. The Pliny characters, their complexion, the Ethiopian, that is as black as the Ethiopian, and it may be that the curliness of their hair was the same nature as the Negro also. Thus the Negritos of Huxley, the owners of such skulls as those found in the Katniss, may have been allied at the ancient Iberians, that the wild tribes of Ireland were black men, is hinted by the fact that a wild Irishman is a Gaelic, aka a black Irish, and that some of the natives of Scotland, as well as of England, were of the race also is evident when one remembers that according to Skene, Skene, the powerful tribe of the Damanani or the Damani, the Damonii, which was the chief of the confederacy of the Matai, or the marsh dwellers, who were a part of the Picti or the Caldani, the Picti or the Caledonii, were probably relations of their namesake of the southern Western Britain, which indeed is almost and certainly, if nomenclature goes for anything. Therefore, the British Picts resemble the Ugrian or the Urian, the Ugrian Picts, and the Tasmanian and other kindred Picts, not only in using of the similar customs and weapons, but also in their most striking physical features, y'all. You see? And the Briton Picts, like those of other lands, stand out again as dark-skinned men. A complementary witness with the Maurus, the Maurus, is Gorm, Gorm, found attached to the names of Highland and other chiefs and kings. You know, This word is given in the Gaelic dictionaries as signifying blue or whatever shade. Now, I dropped some knowledge to a lot of my cartoons. I'm giving my age. I used to love G.I. Joe, right? And you remember in G.I. Joe, they had the mercenary twins, and they were from Tunisia, and they say they were South African. But at first, no disrespect, they were, pale skin. But then when they got their power, they turned blue. When they got in the sun. When they got in the sun, y'all remember they turned blue? Y'all remember that? Somebody say Islam. They turn blue. Remember that? Also green as grass. And this recalls the fact that the indigenous tribe described by Caesar were styled with word, verbes, green and corally, blue from the wold with they stain their bodies, the color which may come under either of the headings accordingly. When one looks again in the Gaelic dictionary, one finds the Gorman, Gorman, is WOAD. Plainly, therefore, a man who is titled Gorm is a wad-stained man. Now, although in the Gaelic of the Scotland, a Negro is known as Duine Dubh, Duinedubh, a black man. He is known in the Gaelic of Ireland as Duane Gorm, a blue-green or wad-stained man. I showed y'all in Poland how them Negroes don't like to be called a certain type of Moor. I said that is crazy. They want to be called a Polish American, but I get that, but whatever. And signify both swarty and green in Wales. It has the meaning of green or blue. And in the later country, the Gaelic Gorm, here spelled GWRM, is equivalent to brown. What possibly explanation for all the apparent confusion of the terms can there be, except that the pattern, one, that a brown-skinned man and a wad-colored man were one and the same. What you say? I've heard that before, that the Black Irish Cleopatra thing is, I'm not mistaken, I think so, fled to Ireland. Whole nother story. We'll talk about it. We got the proof on a lot of that Cleopatra stuff. But Maurus, Maurus, is a word which suggests a great deal. It has this in common with the Ugrian, the Ugrian, and the word Kara, or Ciar, or Kara, previously glanced at, that it not only signifies swartiness of skin. Remember I said swarty Piet, aka Black Pete in the Netherlands? But it's radically connected with a marsh or morass, Morass, or carse, Carse, as it is called in Scotland. One meaning of morass, Maurus, in Latin is palus, Palus, and the words marsh, morass, Marish, Merse, in Saxon, and moor, Moor, or Muir, are all different forms, clearly of what? One original root, aka in linguistics we call it the origin, or the etymology, or the etymon. Whatever it may be, the Apain, the Apian land, that area certainly meant the watery land. So you got Mera Unschlungen, Mereumschlungen, among the pre-Hellenic Greeks, just as the same land is called Morea, Morea, by the modern post-Hellenic or the Romantic Greeks from More, the name for the sea in the Slavonic vernacular of its inhabitants during the heart of the Middle Ages. So say Lord Strangford, speaking authoritatively in Gaelic, the sea is Mara and More, which suggests the Latin more, M-A-R-E. Armstrong, who certainly excels in ferreting out an enormous number of kindred words, he agrees. But watch this, y'all. Look at this. It's been much written about Merriman, the Murraymen, and other water people, and the subject is usually treated mythologically, just like when I be talking about the Sibyls that the damn Catholic Church hide. The Sibyls, you know, in first century, it was the formation of God. That's why Sophia is wisdom. That's why when Paul was on the road to Damascus, he was going to try to convert them. That's why they took the Gar Aramis and whitewashed it. They was the Sibyls. I'm telling you, it's all in the Bible, but it's changed, and I can prove this to anyone. But regardless of that, and other water people, and the subject is usually treated mythologically, although capable, I venture to think, of being interrupted realistically. The view of the origin of Moros must, however, be discarded here, and our attention turned to more directly to the dwellers among the Moors and the marsh. Whether they give their name to these places or were styled because they inhabited them, they were at any rate known as Moors, Moors. That is to say, this became the general pronunciation given to the word. The original root seems likelier to have been MOR, as seen in Cornish, Amoranican, Armorican, and other languages. Jameson, in his Scottish dictionary, says of the word Morav, Moriave, defined by him as black, swarty, resembling a Moor. This word has certainly been used in Old English, as Cotgraves gives it as the sense of former More. It is probably a contraction of the Latin Mauritanius, Mauritanus, a Moor. It would perhaps be more correctly to say that Latin Mauritanius and Morus are extensions of Mor, Mor. He also connects this word with the Morion, the Morion, that formed the headpiece of the medieval man at arms. You remember on He-Man, Man at Arms? You remember on He-Man and Man at Arms, and you see the Olmec head? I'm trying to tell y'all, man, they can lie all they want to. I already have my dissertations. I did the oral, the verbal dissertations. We have to build our own infrastructure. We can do this. Hell, if they got mega churches all over, mega mean the people. We can this can be as big as anything because we building our foundation on truth. The world don't have a problem with who we are. What was taken from you? Your nationality and your spirituality. It's just facts. Another English word for the root of Mori, Murrey, meaning dark red or copper color. The country of Moravia, Moravia, is said to receive its name from the chief river of Morava, March, or anciently Marus, Marus, and its first known inhabitants are started to have been a people named Quota. Remember, and I told y'all Jerusalem had 4 names. Remember, Jerusalem had 4 names. I broke this down. Who immigrated in the 5th century to Gaul in Hispania. The river Morava is tautology, for Morava is Moor River. Whether Ava be regarded as Celtic or Gothic or a language older than either, it is not unreasonable to conjecture that the Quadi, the Quadi, who went into France and Spain, may have been born this name Moor, M-O-R, the other having been given to them by the outsiders or vice versa. They seem to have been known to the Romans against they fought the first of these names. Lempriest gives several nations bearing names beginning with M-O-R. The Mori, the Morines in India, and the Morini of the country, also the Morani, a people of Belgic Gaul on the shores of the British Ocean, are examples. The Maori, the Mauritania, are perhaps the most notable examples of a nation bearing the same name, through its a slightly altered shape, y'all. So the consideration of the word and the localization of the races thus named is not irrelevant at this point, brothers and sisters. For although it may be easy to trace their root and the date of the arrival, a branch of family did inhabit Britain. Remember, and are not only known as Mauri, M-A-U-R-I, and Moors, M-O-O-R-S, but also Moravians, identical with the name of those in India, Mori men, and people of Moray or Moravia. The name Moravia was given to 2 districts in Scotland, the one most important in north central and the other in south portion of the country. that the Picts, known to the Romans as Mori, y'all, were finally divided into the sections inhabiting these locations. It's a speaking fact, which is well to remember that this juncture, y'all, you got to know this. The smaller district in the south has been the name father of a family distinguished in Scottish history, the Moores of the Philippina in Selkirkshire, whose ancestor, Archibald de Morava, was among those who subscribed the oath of fealty to Edward I of England in 1926. One of the estates of this clan bore the significant name of the Black Barnery. Of course, the race of Archibald de Morava may have been that of an intruding army and not necessarily that of the Moravians, as he was simply Archibald, Lord of Morava, Sir Charles A. Moore, who fought at Chevy Chase of the same clan, shown the name in the modern form, approximately. You got to know this, family. So I just want to stop right there. All through history, your history is deep. Nobles, if y'all want to learn, if y'all don't want to pay for all the books, we have every book converted to PDF documents. You can download on your tablet. Expensive books that cost thousands of dollars. It'll take me too long to pull out all the documents and then bring my database to go through all the books and the documents that you're able to get here at the BBT. So I just give everybody gratitude for taking time out their day. Do anybody got any questions or anything they want to share? Anything? If not, I give gratitude for everyone for taking time out their day. And at the end, I always give out my information. My email is Goodman, Goodman Khary, that's Goodman Khary @gmail.com. Hit me up. If you want to be a student and a member of our temple and school, I can email you our syllabus, and our enrollment package of what we teach and the books that we use to teach our history and science and things. But hit me up. My office number is 602-473-8767. A lot of times you will see our header going down at the bottom, but it's not down there right now. But please, hit me up. If you need books and literature, if you're just inquiring over books and literature before you pay thousands of dollars for some paper, when people say, well, I like to touch it. And I say, well, you can get these things from me, PDF, go to Office Max and Staples and they'll print it and bind it. Save thousands of dollars, save thousands of dollars, save thousands of dollars. And I tell people, you don't have to give a whole nother some platform. You can see what we're going to do. If you don't have a fez and a turban, I have them. Bonnets, kufis, she-mags, all that. Our Morris attire, morrishaberdasher.com. When I teach these lectures and I say, man, if you give a small donation to our temple and school, I will give you so much. And I have so many witnesses when people give $20 and $30, they say, man, I looked this book up. Man, this book was damn near $500. I gave a brother the book, The Golden Age of the Moors by Ivan Van Sertima the other day for a $20 donation. He was like, huh? He was like, brother, you giving me this for this? I said, yeah. He said, the book on Amazon is $400. And I said, yeah, I know who's selling the book. It's a used book. He said, but you giving me this for $20? He said, I just wanted the wisdom. He said, man, I know you. I said, no, because our people don't support. They support other entities, which is okay. I have glory for people dealing with me, and I give honor. And I don't really talk about the negative and things. I see it. And a lot of times we don't want to see our own make it. We want to see celebrities make it, And we put our destiny in celebrities. Well, I'm not a celebrity. I'm a divine minister and a teacher, and I want to see us have something. I want to see our own library where kids can come to and research the books and have it and write about history and have computers and things to use. To when we talk about history and things, and have a teacher, an educator can teach them things about history and business and finances. I have real businesses can teach you about a business credit, can teach you how to start your business the right way. I teach this stuff. And I'm casting my net out to my brothers and sisters to holler at me. You can have a full library. Just like right now, research the book called Russian Icons by Vladimir Ivanov and tell me how much the book costs. I got books that cost thousands, and I done and be like, you can get these for small donations, and Office Max and Staples are printing and binding them, or my muftis are printing and binding for you at bindedbooks.com. This is the age of information where you can travel with it. No one is walking with a whole bunch of books. That's why a lot of bookstores are not prosperous anymore. And that's why they're charging a lot because, man, in school I showed how Amazon spent $25 million converting books to PDFs. Just like I know the history how they did that because they take a lot of chapters out of a lot of books. But I got all the books. That's why I'm able to quote things and show people things from history. My number is 602-473-8767. And my Gmail is Goodman, GOODMANKHARY @gmail.com. I have a whole database of books. I have a whole database. I used to go over my database and have live auctions and have live sales. I get nobody that on here that talk about their moors. I got my other platform up with my college students. Every college student will put their money together and get it. It was a book called Tavistock Institution of Human Engineering by John Coleman. The book was stacks and stacks, and now I think it's not that expensive no more. I was giving that book to college students. They was like, it's here for pennies. I have a whole library. I got books right now that I pull out that you'll look on Amazon that cost thousands of dollars. You'll be like, why? You'll be like, why? You'll be like, why? Just like I was talking about this, Ancient and Modern Britons. It's 2 volumes. I got these right now. Why would you want to go buy it? I got both of these right now. You can download on your tablet. And you have it forever. You have it forever on the file. I got both of these right now. I got expensive books, saved. It's a book called Melanin, The Chemical Greatness for Black People. I forget the professor's name after. Look how much that book costs. I have all those. I have a whole list of expensive books that you need in your library that you should have, the Trump history, and we converted them all to PDFs. If my nobles was on here, they'll testify. Each one of my nobles, each one of my muftis probably got over 50,000 or 100,000 books and documents, and that's not saying they know it. I'm just saying from the work that I put in, because I know at one point everything that I offer is going to be obsolete or the price is going to be astronomical on Amazon. And a lot of the stuff that I converted to PDF, you can't get PDF. This took me a years of work in academia. It took years of work. Man, college students get books from me. I'm telling people. And so this is what we need to do. The information needs to be shared. But if you will go on Amazon and buy books for thousands of dollars, why wouldn't you support something and get them for a fraction of the price? And have a whole database. And then come to class and learn. And sit down and discuss. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. And then learn some other things, how you can build your infrastructure. When I talk about tax exempt for the federal government, legal, when I talk about doing things lawfully and getting tax exempt receipts, building your brick and mortar, building in the inside. That's what this is about. That's what community is all about. It's a compound word, commerce and unity. That's come together. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. So please, brothers and sisters, let's communicate. If you got a podcast, I come on your podcast. I shouldn't just be giving this information to college students and other people having me speak in academia, and I come here and people don't want to spread this wisdom and build their library. I have something that can change your life, your children's life. When they're talking about history, finances, even working out, changing your diet. We work out, we do all that. We have something here to change this. And knowledge and wisdom. That's what it is. It's about learning something. There's no quick fix. I promise y'all. And this is the paradigm shift. So once again, my information, my office number is 602-473-8767. And my Gmail is GOODMANKHARY @gmail.com. Once again, man, I love y'all. Let's keep it respectable. Long as you hit me up and respect me, I'll respect you. I don't deal with no trolls. We're not going to entertain that. We should be too old to be on this social media plan. This social media is a gift to connect us from all different areas that's like-minded. And if my people know my voice, then I'm casting my net out to everybody, to all my brothers and sisters. I love y'all, man. Let's learn something. And if you're looking for your Moorish regalia, if you're looking for kufis, fezes, turbans, I give stuff away. If you don't know how to wrap your turban, if you don't know how to wrap your shemag, I have these classes. I teach you how to do this, and I provide them. Once again, check me out, and I gave you all my information. I love everyone on here, no matter if you love me. I have enough love to overthrow any hate, because I cast nothing but love out. But we have a right to understand who we are. And we have a right to resurrect our science. So I love y'all, man, and peace.
Peace, peace, peace.
Thank you, Noble. Take us out.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
And gratitude for everybody's time. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Shalom alaikum, Ayasha Ayah, peace, peace, peace. El Rahman, Yahak, Ya Muhammin, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Peace, 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 peace. Hey, hold on. You said, hold on. What you say, Noble? Wholeheartedly interest just hurt right now. Now financially, I want to link and have your number, and I know what to do. You are a mad, modest teacher. Gratitude, Noble. Let me tell you something before we close. Man, I just don't want my life to be off this earth, and I'm holding the wisdom back, trying to say, well, you can't get this because you don't have a dollar amount. I'm not going to have that on my chest. That's why when I do this, I ask for a suggested donation. If I say, man, you can get a book from me, donated to Morge, and I'm asking for a $40 donation, you don't have it, you say, I really want that. And you sincere, your heart sincere, and you say, but I got $10. You think I'm not going to give it to you? You damn right I'm going to give it to you, because that's what I am. I want the information. It's worth something. Everybody ain't there. So I give honor when people being honest. And when a person is honest, that's all I can ask for a person, because I don't know if a person is lying or telling the truth. But if a person is honest and willing to open themselves up and even make that statement, because I'm not going to put nothing on me that say that I don't have. I don't even speak like that in the atmosphere. What I don't have, I don't speak stuff like that. I say I'm going to do what I can. You know, I never speak negative things on me to say what I don't have, because that's, to me, that's a spell that we cast on ourselves. I'm always like to use positive words when I'm speaking of myself as working in progress, as I'm going to make it happen, not what I don't have and all that, because it's a spell. So whatever you have is worthy. Whatever you have, if you sincere, because I'm not going to pull a dollar amount on wisdom. That's why I say a suggested donation when I'm ministering, when I'm teaching. Now my businesses, that's separate. When you go on my business websites, that's separate. But when you're dealing with me, when you here right now, I'm operating in philanthropy. I'm operating as a minister, as a teacher. So I'm asking for a suggested donation. Suggested donation means I'm still going to give it to you, regardless if you don't have that. But isn't it worth something to you? Yeah, well, it should be worth something. So if a person don't have $40 and they want that and they say, brother, I got 10, I got 15, you can have it, my brother. That's what I'm saying. Because if we'll go smoke a Black and Mild and go to the dispensary and get an AFI, or go buy them new Jordans, those, what they call them, the white and the baby blue ones, and we'll stay in the center line for that, we can't say that we can't we ain't going to shortcut the wisdom. We're not going to shortcut the wisdom. We're not going to do that. We're going to treat the wisdom the same way we do other things, you know? So if I don't have it, I'm going to be honest, say, man, I don't have it. I'm not going to say I don't have it and then be fresh and deaf and throw myself to wisdom's court fresh as hell as a court jester. This is what I'll be telling other people, and that's what happens a lot with our people. We'll rather say we don't have this with the wisdom and be fresh as hell when you look at people's social media page, but then they say they don't have $30 and $40 for wisdom, but we'll smoke up an AFI every day, or smoke up an ounce, or be fresh and put those shoes in the closet. So it got to be worth something to a person. And when a person honest, I can rock with them all day, because it ain't about a dollar. It ain't. If you honest with me, I'm honest with you, and you can get whatever from me if your heart is pure. That's what I tell people. If your heart is pure, you can get whatever from me, if your heart is pure. And then if you have friends that's in the wisdom like you, hell, we'll get with our friends and go to the clubs and put our money together and go to clubs and get drinks, but we won't put our money together and say, man, I know this brother we can get this book from for $40. Man, you got 20? Hell yeah, bro. You got 20? Yeah. Well, let me get that if I can get this from. Let me get that. Oh, nigga rather go half on smoking. Nigga rather go, I'll buy you some food that you don't eat, McDonald's. We'll go to the clubs and drink cheap liquor and do all this. We'll put our money together to do something real. And this is what I be saying. A lot of times we have the wrong friends, you know, because if you a dummy, dummies hang around dummies. I ain't never seen smart people hang around dummies unless you're trying to teach them something, but you got to be willing to be taught. Don't know wise people hang around with no fools. Don't know junkie, a person that ain't no junkie don't hang around with crackheads unless he's hustling. So this is what I'm telling people. Our focus must change, and how we spend our time and where we spend our money must change. And we must be conscious over what we're doing. That's the whole thing, because we don't really have to do nothing or make no more money. We have to be conscious over what we're wasting. And when a person look at really consciously, and when they look from the inside, like the word, like Michael Jackson saying, the man in the mirror, when you really take a look at yourself and say, man, I need to change because I can do this. I got it. I can do this. And that's what it's all about with me. But as I close, brother, whatever you need, all y'all got to do is hit me up. But a workman is due his hire. That's all I say. Peace and love.
Peace.
I'm a spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart beating, knowledge speaking, seed sowing, harvest reaping, man leading me. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing. To quit, I have no reason. I mean, I'm a stupid, I be trying to live my dream. I cannot even act if it's all easy.
You can do it or you
ain't no in between, baby.
You can act the sun, it's an everyday thing.
Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality.
Working like a slave. That's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace. Woo.
They remember me, but I cannot remember.
Let's go. That's that Brian Hicks Bay. Transportation of raw materials. Streaming on all platforms, y'all. Check my Noble out. I love y'all, man, and peace.